Hello and welcome to the first episode of our podcast, Oddballs, where we discuss the history and mystery of some underloved sports around the world. I'm Joe, and this is my co-host Wes, and today we're going to be exploring the world of Kabaddi. So Wesley, what can you tell me about Kabaddi?
Hello Joe, good to be with you. I can't tell you a single thing about it. Don't know where it's from, don't know how you spell it. Wouldn't even hazard a guess what it involves.
Okay, well, I think you join most people in that. It is not something many people would have heard of. Potentially, there's one part of the sport that people have heard of, and I think that is the interesting part of the sport. So
Okay.
We'll come to that later.
I'm intrigued.
But I think the first question you asked is a very good one. Where's it from? It is from India. The word Kabaddi comes from a Tamil word meaning hold hands, and it's effectively a form of tag,
Okay.
a full contact tag. So maybe similar to something you would have played at break at school when you were younger.
No, I played kiss and catches.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. So it's very popular throughout the subcontinent, Bangladesh, India, obviously Pakistan. It's popular in Sri Lanka, although they don't seem to be internationally competitive as much as they are in a sport like cricket.
Okay.
Big in Iran as well. South Korea have done very well at the Asian Games, which is a surprise given their distance from India. And there's obviously not huge cultural crossover between the two countries, maybe until more recently. As I said, it's a form of tag. So the aim of the game is to score more points than the opposition. And the way you can score points is by tagging opposition players. Teams will take it in turns to raid into the other team's territory, their half of the pitch. And you get 1 point per tag made. There are various other ways of scoring points. We'll come to that now. And then the defensive team, who are primarily trying to avoid being tagged, and then secondarily, if they're tagged, if someone is tagged, they will try to tackle the tagger, the raider, to prevent him from getting into his own half. And that way they would prevent the raider from scoring points, and B, they would score points themselves.
Okay. Two quick questions. What constitutes like a touch? Like, is it just any touch whatsoever by the attacker on any of the defenders?
Exactly. Any touch
Any
whatsoever.
part of the body?
Any part of the body. You can use your foot.
Lightest touch, or it doesn't have to be... Okay.
Yeah, just a little whiff of their shirt is fine. So there will be umpires on either side.
So a shirt counts?
Yes.
Okay. So you wear tight-fitting clothes for this?
Yes, you would.
Okay, and then similarly for the defending team, how do you have to tackle the guy to the ground and like physically restrain him?
Yes.
Or is it just about like getting them to the ground once, like if a knee hits the ground or something like that?
No, you would have to stop them, and I think let's get now maybe to the key part, because that plays a role in your question now.
Okay.
So the one thing that maybe people would know about the sport of Kabaddi is that the raider, the attacker, has to chant under his breath, Kabaddi, 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 the whole time.
Excuse me?
So while being in the attacking half, the raider must hold his breath, and to show that he's holding his breath, he must chant Kabaddi, 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 Kabaddi.
So they can't breathe while they're doing this?
No, not while you're attacking. So typically a raid will be limited to about 30 seconds is a new modern rule. That's just improved the watchability of the sport. But previously it was just as long as you could hold a breath. So if you've got a guy with 3 lungs, you can go on for 2 minutes tagging whoever he wants to.
Oh, in fairness, I think even 30 seconds is a pretty long stint to hold your breath.
No, that is. I couldn't do that.
If you're sprinting around and... Okay, so you're not allowed to breathe, and the way to prove that you're not breathing is by continuously speaking. And supposedly, if there's a break in your speech, they know you've breathed. You've taken a breath.
Yes, so that is another way that the defensive team can obviously win.
Okay.
A point is by tackling them in such a way that they will have to take a breath and stop.
Just win the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, typically defenders will often a first sort of tackle will be a grab by some of the more nimbler players, and then they'll have larger defenders come around and make an actual tackle, put the guy to the ground.
Okay.
But if the attacker is able to make his way back into his own half, even just a hand, then that constitutes a successful raid. And any of the defenders then who had, even if they initiated the contact, they would still be considered being tagged.
And that's multiple points then. It's not just successful or unsuccessful. It's as many people as you touch, you get that many points.
You get that many points, and crucially, you get those players who've been tagged are eliminated.
Okay.
So not for the entirety of the game. but they go onto the elimination bench, and they can be brought back, which we'll speak about now. Similarly, if the attacking player is stopped from returning to his own half, the defensive team will get 1 point, and that raider will be eliminated.
Okay. But a raider has a chance to do a lot more damage in a raid than what a defending team can do, because they can only eliminate one person.
Yes.
And gain 1 point.
Theoretically.
But a raider could go on a raid.
A raider could theoretically get 10 points in one raid.
10?
Yes.
So how do you do that? Only 7 guys on the pitch?
There's 7 guys on the pitch. If you get all 7 out, not necessarily in one turn, but if you get the whole team out, all 7 out, you get 2 bonus points for an all out, is what it's called.
Okay.
And the whole of their team's able to come back onto the field. Mm-hmm. And then there's a bonus point that you can get as a raider if you start the raid with more than 7 players. If the defensive team starts the raid with more than 7 players. Because
surely they could only have 7.
No, well, as the
defensive team.
As the game progresses. So, as I said, let's say the first raid, my team goes and eliminates 3 players, and then your team will raid my team, and whatever happens there, maybe they'll bring 1 or 2 players back, but then the new raid starts, and there's some eliminated players on your team, so you're not at the full complement of 7. Let's say you're only on 5. Then that bonus point is no longer valid.
I see. Okay. So the full house, let's say, would be you tag all 7 people.
Yes.
You get past this bonus point line.
Yeah.
So it's 8 points. And now that you've taken all 7 out, you get the extra 2 for the all out.
Exactly.
10.
Yeah.
Pretty rare, I would imagine.
I think it's incredibly rare.
Okay.
I haven't heard of it ever happening.
Okay.
But in theory, that is the most you could get. I think just visualizing the court maybe will help a little bit with this.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit similar to a tennis court in look, but squashed down. It's only 13 meters long as opposed to 23. Okay. So about half the length. But the lines will be very similar with some exceptions. So there's a midway line, which is kind of like the net would be. There are the tram lines.
Yep.
And then there's a midway line in each half. And that's called the bulk line. So that would be a bit like the service boxes. There's no middle line turning them into boxes. It's just a midway line. And then this is not something you would have in tennis, but 1 meter behind that midway line, which is called the bulk line, is the bonus line. And that's where you would score the bonus point if you went past there.
Okay.
Again, you only get the bonus point if there are 6 or more defenders. And then the other important part of the field layout, of the pitch layout to consider is the tram lines that we spoke about. And they are out of play initially when a raider begins his raid, but they come into play once a tag has been made and the defender and the raider is running back to his own half.
So the court kind of widens.
Yes.
On your retreat.
Yes.
Okay. Why is that? Just to give the defender a better chance of getting back?
The raider.
Oh, sorry, the raider, yep.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And so you said if you tag someone, they get eliminated, right? So let me just run a scenario here. The raider goes, it tags 2 people. There's now and gets back across the line.
Yes.
There's now only 5 people left on team A, and still 7 people on team B.
Yes.
Team A then goes on their own raid, and they send a raider across. They tag, let's say, 3 people, and then get back across the line. So now it's 5 against 4. Can you only replenish does your team only replenish once you get down to 0? Once someone gets you all out?
No. So for every person that you take, every person that you eliminate, you're allowed to bring someone back to life as well.
Oh my word! So if you get someone out,
yes,
you get someone back in at the same time,
yes,
and you get a point.
Yes.
Okay, so I imagine it's quite rare that you get it down to all out.
No, I think it's common enough. I think you build up sort of kind of not momentum over time, but you will build up a advantage over time, and as you're playing sort of 6-on-1 for a while, eventually, 6-on-2, eventually you're going to start wearing them down till it's 7-on-1 then.
I see.
And then it's all out, and then...
Okay. Okay, so you can bring people back when you get people out yourselves, and that's how you score points all at the same time. So what is how many points would you typically score in one of these games?
So about mid-20s, maybe low 30s
Okay.
in a competitive game. So the big competitive Kabaddi tournaments are the international ones. The Asian Games is the pinnacle of the international game. That is typically India will win. Iran have won once in the men's and once in the women's. And there was also an upset where South Korea beat India in a group stage, but India still went on to win.
Okay. Presumably Asian Games is the pinnacle because it seems like a fairly localized sport.
Yes.
It's not really on the world stage.
Yes.
Which is, I guess, why we're talking about it.
Yeah, so the best countries at Kabaddi are all in Asia. The Asian Games is sort of the Asian Olympics, basically. They will play more sort of Asian native games than just the Olympic sports.
Sure.
And it is a bigger thing than the World Cups. There are 2 World Cups, ironically, in Kabaddi, which I think potentially undermines the credibility of the governing bodies. Again, undermining that. There was meant to be one, or there was one this year, hosted in England, but it's by probably the less mainstream of the 2 governing organizations. It's called not Pro Kabaddi, World Kabaddi. And the other governing body is the International Kabaddi Federation.
Okay.
But they also haven't hosted a World Cup since 2017. So in terms of international Kabaddi, really the Asian Games are the most regular, the most mainstream, the most watched Kabaddi in terms of the internationals. In terms of club or domestic game, as we would think about it, there is a Pro Kabaddi League in India, that's the highest profile of the game outside of internationals.
Okay.
And it's similar to the IPL, if you think about that. There are local teams. There are about 10 teams, and they play over about a 2.5-month season, and there is a champion each year.
Okay, so are they all kind of city franchise teams similar to the IPL?
Exactly. So there are some cities maybe that you wouldn't have heard of. I think that Kabaddi obviously is popular in different areas of India to cricket. There's obviously huge overlap in particularly the big cities. There's a team from Mumbai, there's a team from Bengal, but the most successful team is from Patna, which I've never heard of in a cricketing sense, and that's sort of northeast in India. But yeah, Delhi, Gujarat, Mumbai, all teams I think you would be familiar with from cricket.
Okay. Is it the guys who represent these teams? I imagine there's a few foreigners involved and whatnot, but would it be like a kind of like my idea of like grassroots sports where it comes up and you like want to represent your region, or is it a little bit more franchisey than that? You just sign a contract to go play where you can play?
I think it's a little bit more franchisey. I mean, they're not clubs, they are franchises.
Okay.
There will be instances where players want to, particularly maybe now because it's been going for about 15 years, that they will be wanting to represent the team that they grew up watching. But similar to the IPL, let's say at the beginning, you probably went with the biggest offer you had. Although also there is, for sponsorship reasons, etc., there are reasons to try and have local players.
Sure. Okay. And you said this one of their seasons runs about 2.5 months of the year. So are these guys, the guys who are doing this, are they professional Kabaddi players? Is this how they make their livelihood? So
there will be a mixture. I think about the top 20-30%, I think, are fully professional. I mean, the top earners are earning about $250,000 a year. So that's enough money to be doing it full time, particularly I would say in India, the
purchasing power is pretty strong, yeah.
Is less than in Europe or America.
Okay.
But on the lower end, they're earning about $15,000 a year, which again is good money in India. But I do know that a few players have got jobs particularly in the civil service, so policemen, part of the army, etc. Okay, and what would they do? Is there any other kind of
Kabaddi action that we expect to see year round that's outside of the 2.5 month calendar in India? Do the internationals happen in a different period?
Yeah, the internationals would happen in a different period. So typically the Asian Games will be in sort of, think about when the Olympics would be, sort of late summer, August-ish. So that will happen then. And then the Pro Kabaddi League is actually a little bit later in October to sort of November, December-ish. And they have changed around the season a few times in the Pro Kabaddi League, but it's always been broadly once a year for about 2.5 months.
Okay. You said the top guys are earning what, the $250,000 a year odd. What is like, okay, in football terms, it's easy to imagine kind of your big star players, your Messis, your Ronaldos, those kind of guys. They're always like the attackers.
Yes.
Is it the Raiders that are like presumably people play to their strengths at different positions that some things you're good at, some things you're not good at. What is the elite player?
So there are a few elite players we can go through. There's a guy called Sachin Tanwa is the top earner in 2024. We don't have figures for 2025 yet. He was a Raider. But there's another guy, an Iranian guy, Mohammad Reza Shadlawi, who plays for the Iran national team. He's the top defender of the league, and he's the second best paid player.
He plays in the Indian league?
Yes.
Okay.
No, all of these players play in the Indian league. All of the best players in the
everyone
world
does.
play. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are limitations to, again, similar to the Indian Premier League, there are limitations to how many foreigners are allowed in a team, in a squad, and how many are allowed on the pitch at a time, on the court at a time. So you're only allowed 2 foreign players on a court at the time. So if substitutions happen, you would have to either do a foreign player for another foreign player, or take a foreign player off for an Indian player, and then an Indian player off for a foreign player.
I see.
There are various reasons why you do substitutions, tactical, fatigue, etc. But you would always have to have that limit of 2 non-Indian players at maximum.
So you're saying the Iranian guy is a defender?
He's a defender. He's a big guy. He's about 2 meters tall.
Oh, that's not short.
No. And yeah, he's an excellent defender. Typically players we've sort of taken for granted that they're raiders and defenders, but I don't think that's immediately obvious. So you do have, typically you'll have a star raider, maybe a sort of secondary raider as well in a team of 7. And then the rest will be defenders and then all-rounders who are sort of decent raiders, but it's not their speciality. And I think an important thing, one of the big roles in Kabaddi, which is not maybe as big in other sports, is captaincy, similar to cricket. You have a lot of, say, in terms of selection, you have a lot of calls to sort of like determine the defensive formation. You select the raiders as well as and when they go. So I think it probably is an interesting aspect of Kabaddi that is very similar to cricket, and I'm not sure if it's because of the influence of cricket being obviously huge in India and the subcontinent, but that is...
Yeah. Would there still be like a team manager who has some kind of...
Yes.
Overall strategic...
Again, similar to cricket, the coach and the captain would work hand in hand, but I think they're sort of different sides of the same coin, the one being an on-court presence and the one being an off-court presence. But yes, so typically you'll have 1 or 2 specialist raiders, and then you will have your all-rounders and defenders. In terms of how often someone's allowed to raid, there's no limit. You can just plug away with one guy. But there are reasons why you wouldn't want to, unless the guy was, let's say, exceptional. Or he's your best raider and it's right at the end, and you just want to get a point or 2 because you're behind.
What would the reasons be that obviously he's going to get tired?
It's just workload management is one.
Okay.
The other
and
thing
he needs to breathe at some point.
He does need to breathe at some point, not just on defense. The other thing would be a little bit of an element of surprise. You don't want them to expect the same guy every time. And then there are a bit like you would think about in baseball. It's also become very popular in T20 cricket now. They study the matchups of certain players. So I don't know enough to get into too much detail, but they would say player X is very good against defender Y. So they would maybe keep trying him, and once defender Y is off, then they would stop Raider X.
And that raider would be going across and intentionally trying to go get player Y.
Potentially, if he's their best defender.
Okay.
So maybe you're targeting Mohamed Reza Shadlawi.
Bold. Okay, so if you've done your analysis, you have a matchup, you think one guy is going to be good to attack another guy. That's one strategy. What would other approaches be, kind of strategy wise? You mentioned like captains make decisions about defensive formations. What is the detail? What's the complexity to the game, I guess?
So I think it's just in terms of defense, it's a balancing of the risk that you're willing to take. Whether you're willing to risk being tagged in order to tackle the opposition to prevent him from getting back. And a lot of that will depend on the state of the game. So if you're winning, if you're losing, the number of players that they have eliminated, the number of players you have eliminated. Typically, what you would have in terms of a defensive formation is you'll have the bigger guys centrally, and then the quicker guys out wide and a little bit further forward. So a little bit of a semicircular shape, maybe like a C if you looked at it from above.
What was the Shaka formation?
Yeah, the bull horns.
The bull horns.
Yeah.
Okay. So similar to that.
Very similar to that. Quicker guys on the outside, stronger, more experienced guys in the middle. And so the quicker guys are more able to make a quick grab, get the player, and then the more experienced, stronger teammates will come around and tackle him back, prevent him from getting there. In terms of attack, there are a few other tactics that are common as well. One of them is targeting either the best defenders or also typically the best raiders. Because if you tag the opposition team's best raider, typically they're going to try and bury him at the back where you can't tag him. But if you manage to tag the opposition team's best raider, then they obviously can't raid you in the next turn. Or until they're revived by their teammate making either a successful raid or a good tackle.
Sure. Okay. And I mean, this of course all sounds very balanced when you've got your 7 guys on the court. But I presume when you start taking some losses, eventually you can't be hiding your best raider at the back. He's going to have to start defending, contributing. Exactly. Like otherwise, he will just be targeted easily. Exactly.
Again, it depends a little bit on the game state. Maybe you can try and sort of wait the guys out a little bit. Similarly, if you're attacking and you winning by loads, let's say, you can try and waste as much time as possible, basically. You have your allotted 30 seconds, which is the modern rule, as opposed to just as long as you can hold your breath for. But you still have to cross that bulk line in order to come back, that halfway line.
Okay, so you do that if you're leading?
Yes.
So you can park the bus in this game?
You can park the bus to some extent. There is a new rule that came in with the Pro Kabaddi League to prevent parking the bus too much, is that if you do that twice, the third time you have to tag someone or you yourself will be eliminated. It's called a do or die raid.
Okay. So that's just a professional rule, I guess, to improve watchability of it.
Yes. So three unsuccessful raids in a row results in the third one is called a do or die raid. If that's unsuccessful, you're eliminated. The raider's eliminated. It doesn't have to be the same guy every time.
And no points for you, obviously, but a point for the other team or not?
Yes, a point for the other team.
Okay. Interesting.
And also a new rule variation that came about in the Pro Kabaddi League is, we spoke about the 30 seconds, we spoke about that. And then there is a tactic for attacking teams that was quite commonly used. And it was essentially jumping out of play, jumping into the tram lines, pretending that you tagged someone and getting the defensive team to follow you into the out of bounds area. Because anyone who's out of bounds is eliminated and the opposition team will get a point. So if you jump out of bounds, that's all well and good, your opposition gets a point. But if you can take more than one person with you, you net winning.
Okay, so the play doesn't end when you go out of bounds?
No.
The game is still live?
Yes. Even
though the tram lines are actually out of play?
Yes.
Okay, and why would the opposition team, like the guy that you are portraying to have tagged, who you actually haven't, why would he just not tell his team, yo, he didn't touch me?
Just because of the speed of it.
Oh, okay.
I think he would try to. He would probably try and pull his friends back rather than say it out loud. But if you've got someone running away, the instinct's going to be to chase him.
Okay.
So I would say mostly it's just taking advantage of defenders' instincts. But that was disallowed in the Pro Kabaddi League. And we'll come later on, I think, to a bit of a contentious moment in the history of.
Well, let's talk about it
kabaddi.
now. I'm intrigued. I don't think I'm going to understand this again later. So
Okay. So in the 2022 Asian Games, hosted in China, the final was set India versus Iran, the two biggest international kabaddi teams.
the
in the world.
heavyweights.
There's a real Foreman Ali moment. Two heavyweights really going at it. And going into the final minute of the game, the scores are tied at 28 all. Then what happens is India go on a raid, and we've just spoken about this rule. The raider feints that he's tagged an Iranian player and jumps out, followed by 3 Iranian players. So at first, 1 point was given against India, so to Iran. No contention there, really. But no points were given in favor of India because of this new rule that had come through. However, India then protested, saying that this rule was only in the Pro Kabaddi League's rulebook. It was not in the Asian Olympic Committee's rulebook for Kabaddi, and so they should be due 3 points. And the Indian team walked off the pitch. They refused to continue the game until the referees had met up, went through the rulebook, agreed, awarded India 3 points, at which point the Iranian team walked off the pitch. Eventually, they were convinced to come back and continue playing, and so India ended up winning 33 points to 29.
Okay, so wait. Pro Kabaddi had disallowed this maneuver.
Yes.
I see. Okay, so in let's say the normal rules of Kabaddi, you are allowed to fake people out and hopefully take a few more people with, and then you get more points.
Well, I actually have no idea if they've changed this rule now, because they did adopt the other Pro Kabaddi rules, such as the 30-second rule.
Okay, but at least at that time.
At that time, yes.
The normal rules were that you could entice people out by faking it, and then you're going to lose 1 point yourself. You sacrifice yourself in the hope that you gain additional points.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got all the points. They tricked them. They ended up winning by a margin of 2-3 points.
Yes.
Okay, and you say, you don't know for sure, but potentially this rule has now been clarified or maybe homogenized between the two, between the original, the official rules and the Pro Kabaddi rules potentially.
Well, there hasn't been an Asian Games since then, so we'll find out in 2027.
Since 2022.
Yes. No, it's every 4 years. Sorry, so it'll be 2026.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we won next year. Okay, so then we'll find out. Hopefully, a fewer controversies.
Yep. Well, I mean, who doesn't love a controversy?
It's a bit of good fun.
It means that the final's tight, and no one's going to be very angry about losing the final by 8 points rather than 5.
That's true. I can't imagine it made for particularly good TV though.
No, I don't think watching the referees debating it out for an hour was particularly enthralling.
No. Speaking of, is it a big spectator sport TV wise?
So yes, in India certainly it's huge. I mean, you've got a huge market there. It was said that it's the third biggest spectator, the Pro Kabaddi League at least, is the third biggest spectator league in India. Well, of Indian sport, I think.
Viewership-wise.
The Premier League, yes. So it's IPL is the king. The Indian Soccer League is the sort of local Indian Football League, obviously. There are actually 2 football leagues, which is another weird story. But the sort of franchise one, again, similarly based off the IPL, is the second most popular, and then we've got Kabaddi.
I see. Okay, so big as in how many people watch this?
Aggregated across the season, I think it's in the hundreds of millions of viewers. But that's, I mean, over 120 matches. So,
okay,
I mean, even more than that.
Yeah. Are kids playing the sport, or is it like just a professional sport?
No, it's a very popular.
Do people play it in the gardens and?
Yeah. So
at school?
Yeah, at school. Very, very popular. Obviously, it's not. It's very popular in certain sections of India. I think it's more popular in rural India, but yeah, I mean, you can imagine that playing it on a grass field outside is much more comfortable than playing it on the street.
Yes.
So, but with any sport, there are going to be derivations. I mean, you People play football on the street. People,
Of course. And I guess one of the benefits of the sport is you literally need no equipment.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just need lines on the ground, and off you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very, very popular junior sport, very popular amateur sport, and I think that's the sort of the bridge between the amateur to professional is a little bit unclear from our reading, but I imagine it's just this sort of club level events. You start doing well, maybe get a contract at a Kabaddi Pro League team for a relatively small amount and see how well you do. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. I'm surprised that they don't play the sport at all in South Africa.
Yeah.
Given our large Indian community in Durban.
So it doesn't seem to be very popular in South Africa at all. Weirdly, it is very popular in Kenya, which historically has had a big Indian diaspora.
Really?
And yeah, other countries, obviously, the UK, it's quite popular in the Midlands. So the World Kabaddi World Cup was hosted in the Midlands in the UK, which is around Birmingham. Obviously, huge Indian, Pakistani diaspora there. Relatively popular among Indians now in America. More and more Indians, I think, moving there.
Okay. And these countries are participating in the World Cup. Do they not just get thumped?
They kind of do. I don't think India sends a full-strength team to the World Kabaddi World Cup.
Oh, it's more of like a development
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I think
competition.
I mean, yeah. If we look at the World Kabaddi World Cup from this year, as I said...
That was the one that was hosted in the Midlands.
Yes. It was hosted in, I think, the East Midlands, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Birmingham, Walsall. So the final was between India and England. That's the semi-final. The final was India and England. 44-41 to India, which is relatively close. Scotland and Wales came second and third, respectively. Hong Kong were there. United States, Poland, Hungary, other teams that made the quarterfinals.
Okay, but by the sounds of it, there's no Iran, there's no Pakistan.
No.
They're not playing in this competition?
No, and I think obviously, just sort of geopolitical reasons why Iran and Pakistan maybe have been excluded.
Okay.
But, yeah. I mean, if we look through the score, India scored 102 points against Wales in one of the games. So,
and this is a sport you said usually high 20s, low 30s is a normal scoring range?
At the Kabaddi Pro League level, yeah.
Okay. So that's a annihilation.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a bit like sort of a rugby game you go to on a Saturday morning where sort of 62-40 is not a very uncommon score because everyone's got hangovers.
Do you think it's very much the case that the Welsh Kabaddi Union is also in disarray like the rugby union?
Well, they managed to make the World Cup semi-final, so...
Which the rugby team won't be doing anytime soon.
Yeah, and then I think something else to talk about is the different styles of Kabaddi. So we've predominantly been speaking about, it's called standard style Kabaddi, and that is the sort of rectangular pitch that we've spoken about. One of the biggest alternatives is very big in Pakistan, is called circle style or Punjabi Kabaddi, and that is very, very similar. The pitch is just circular, and there are 8 players on a team rather than 7.
Okay, but all the scoring works the same?
So I don't know how the bonus point would work.
Okay.
I'm just going to assume that it doesn't exist. But other than that, yeah, elimination and potentially some of the new Pro Kabaddi League rules that have been implemented haven't been. So maybe there's not the 30-second limit.
Is there a professional league for the sport as well?
There was a professional league in Pakistan called the Super Kabaddi League. It only ran one season in 2018. And it was part of a bit of a push to make Kabaddi a little bit more popular in Pakistan. But seemingly, either the finances weren't right or sponsors fell out, whatever. It only played one season.
Okay. If that is the case, I understand with, let's say, the political situation with Pakistan and India is strained. Would the Pakistani players be playing in India nonetheless? Because I know like Pakistani players don't play cricket in India. So,
yeah, I think it's a very similar situation with the Pakistani Kabaddi players there. I don't think they're...
So they pretty much don't have access to they don't have access to the top tier of the sport professionally.
Yeah.
But they still compete relatively strongly on the international stage.
So the Asian Games, again, only come every 4 years, so it's difficult to gauge their sort of progress. But they were not as successful as previously. Well, they got hammered by India at the last Asian Games.
Okay.
Whereas previously they've been finalists, a little bit more competitive.
Okay, so they're not real titans of the game or these big heavyweights, really.
No, certainly not in the standard style
Okay.
Kabaddi. Another fun variant of the game, I think, is Beach Kabaddi, which I don't think is played super competitively, but it's more of a social game. So 4 players on each team, and again, similar rules. I think you just sort of scratch out some lines in the sand and go play with your mates.
Oh, that sounds quite fun. Kind of like a beach cricket situation.
Yeah.
Very good. Is it a regulated thing in any way, shape, or form, or is it just people do it for fun?
No, I think it's regulated in the same way that sort of beach football is. So I think there's some competitive games.
Okay, but as I presume then there is a official sized beach kabaddi
Yes.
court,
Yes,
or demarcations or whatnot, which I would presume is a bit smaller than the normal pitch.
Yes.
There's only 4 of you on.
And it's impossible to run on sand.
That's true. Oh, this must make the whole holding your breath thing just absolutely impossible.
Yeah. So they've played beach kabaddi at the Asian Beach Games as well.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So they hold all sorts of beach games. There wasn't one in 2020 for obvious reasons. There seemingly wasn't one in 2024 though. So the next one's in 2026, the Asian Beach Games in China.
Okay.
So that will be one to be aware of. And yeah, in terms of upcoming events, maybe the rest of the year, the auction has just taken place for season 12 of the Pro Kabaddi League.
Oh, I see, because you said it runs from, what, July?
October to December.
October to December, okay.
Yeah.
Ah, so the auction plays exactly the same as IPL.
Very similar to IPL, and you can retain certain players, and you have your salary cap.
How much would a player go for?
So again, I think if talking about dollar terms, about $250,000
I see,
for top
okay.
players.
Okay, because that's the contract value.
Yes.
I see. Okay, and were there any big sales or were there any big transfers of players type thing?
I honestly don't know the sport well enough to see that.
Come on,
to have
Joe.
kept an eye on that, but
No, that's okay. But that must be quite a fun affair to watch. I mean, always the IPL auction's quite pretty interesting
exactly.
to follow, and I guess like especially if you've got a guy who you have a vested interest in, you don't know where he's going to be playing in the next year. That's what I guess makes all these kind of franchise sports quite different to something like football, where there's a lot more. It seems like club loyalty and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the expectation is that you'll stay at your club for
a good while.
Yes.
Okay. I guess, is there anything that I should know about Kabaddi that potentially we haven't mentioned yet or discussed?
No, so I think we're going to be speaking about a lot of these sports and their Olympic sort of aspirations.
Okay.
And I think obviously the thing that's holding Kabaddi back is it's very geographically sort of centralized. India are by far the biggest watchers, by far the biggest domestic game, by far the best international team, as much as Iran's doing well. So I think that in terms of expansion, really the internationalization of the game is big. And I think maybe just being aware of it's the first step towards that.
Yeah.
But I think it looks like a really cool sport, and I would like to see some more of it.
So I guess maybe you're saying from the Olympic perspective, we wouldn't expect to see it as an Olympic sport anytime soon because it's limited by geography, but maybe as one of those, what are those kind of invitational...
Yeah, as a demonstration sport, potentially. Especially if India hosts the Olympics anytime soon.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thanks, Joe. That was very interesting.
Well, thank you, Es. I hope you know a little bit more about Kabaddi now.
Great. Join us next week for Oddballs.